In the center of the zenith nexus stood the soul-born apex predator. He extended his right hand toward his captive bride. Palm up, fingers relaxed. For a Xylos, it was the gesture of absolute, defenseless submission. Silas Cray offered it anyway. As the primary witness to this impossibility, Veda stopped breathing. The grand hall's silence turned brittle. That open hand, she watched carefully, waiting for the violence to begin. Would you have stayed? Or would you have run? Because she didn't run. That same brittle quiet. Veda had first felt it 3 days earlier, stepping onto the sterile transit deck in her funerary white robes. The high house had draped her in the garments of the dead, a political sacrifice to pacify the human warlord. She had adjusted the stiff, ceremonial fold over her left wrist. A meaningless, grounding rhythm. Her instructions from the matriarch were absolute. Survive the binding ceremony. Observe the Union's psychological framework and transmit his weaknesses. She was a weapon forged from a corpse. Aboard the residential shuttle, the temperature felt wrong. Too warm. Too heavily oxygenated. Across the narrow cabin, Silas snapped his fingers at a soul-born aide. He demanded a biological data slate, ordering the immediate upload of Xylo's dietary requirements and atmospheric tolerances. Veda pressed her spine against the bulkhead. Type 7 manipulation. She mentally logged the categorization for the matriarch's espionage report. He was rapidly stripping away her biological privacy, cataloging exactly how much deprivation her body could withstand. It was an interrogation, disguised as logistics. The aide handed over the sleek, dark glass of the slate. Silas tapped the screen rapidly. Within seconds, the oppressive heat in the shuttle bled away, replaced by the crisp, freezing bite of a standard Xylos preparation chamber. Veda shivered. He was testing her temperature shock responses. When he asked if it was better, she merely touched her collarbone, the rigid Xylos acknowledgement of a superior. He frowned. Over the next 2 days, the psychological assault continued. She navigated the decorative, plant-filled soul-born zones of the station, hunting for the military advantage hidden in the absurd foliage. Humans wasted immense spatial volume on useless aesthetics. Vines crept up structural supports. Broad-leafed ferns choked the observation deck. It had to be a camouflage tactic. When Silas noted her distaste for the gardens, she told him clinically that they obscured sight lines. They do, Silas replied, his voice a low, resonant thrum. But they remind us that not everything has to earn its right to exist by being useful. A chill sank into her primary hearts. Strategic empathy. He was actively mimicking vulnerability to lower her defenses. He wanted her to believe in his gentleness so the eventual subjugation would be absolute. The soulborn did not conquer through fire. They conquered by making you surrender your own mind. She drafted another encrypted report to the matriarch in her head. Subject exhibits highly advanced deceptive altruism, recommending total psychological quarantine. The illusion of peace shattered on the 3rd morning. High Arbiter Moloch filed a formal legal challenge against the Union. Came the broadcast across the Zenith Nexus, labeling the marriage a degradation of Xylo's honor. Moloch intended to nullify the treaty, even if it meant triggering the border war Veda had been sent to prevent. Panic flared. The trap had finally sprung. Inside their quarters, the tribunal countdown ticked mercilessly. Veda prepared for her inevitable execution. A soulborn warlord would never surrender an asset. Standing before the mirror, she meticulously smoothed the stiff, ceremonial fold of white fabric over her left wrist. A simple, boring adjustment. Then came the summons. Into the vast, crystalline hall of the Zenith Nexus marched the tribunal. Moloch's voice echoed off the curved walls, demanding the soulborn relinquish his claim or face immediate frontier bombardment. By ancient Xylos law, the human had only 2 options: assert dominance through ritual combat, or yield the bride. The hegemony watched, waiting for the predator to strike. Silas Cray turned fully toward his bride in the silent hall and held out his right hand, palm up and fingers relaxed. That gesture, Veda stared at with mounting dread. It was a trap, a lethal loyalty test designed to justify her execution when she overstepped her station. She touched her collarbone, waiting for the killing blow. "What do you want to do?" Silas asked. No deception laced his tone. He was genuinely yielding the Empire's fate to his captive. That realization fractured her entire worldview. He hadn't weaponized the shuttle's climate to torture her. He had panicked over her comfort. Radical, terrifying vulnerability. How do you defeat an enemy who refuses to fight, yet wins every battle through sheer, weaponized kindness? Together, they drafted the rebuttal on the tribunal floor. Silas casually dismantled Moloch's claim by citing the Arbiter's own biology. Xylo's succession laws relied on an outdated genetic continuity metric, Silas noted, rendering Moloch's purity argument mathematically void under Statute 4b. The High Arbiter fell silent. The Union held. Returning to the decorative, soul-born zones, Veda received an unencrypted video transmission. Silas's mother called to check on the newlyweds. The elderly human spoke fondly of his youth. She mentioned that Silas used to line up his toy soldiers not to simulate tactical strikes, but to ensure every plastic figure had a partner to stand with. The scale of the border war collapsed into that single, chillingly innocent memory. Soul-born altruism wasn't a military tactic, it was an instinct. In the kitchenette, Silas cursed softly. The warlord who had just broken a galactic high arbiter could not master the beverage synthesizer. He failed to extract coffee twice. From the counter, Veda retrieved the biological data slate. That same dark glass he had used to secure her survival, she now repurposed. She tapped the screen, calculating the precise thermal extraction parameters for his morning stimulant. The surveillance device chirped a completion tone. She handed him the warm ceramic cup. Outside the viewport, the Zenith Nexus rotated against a curtain of dead stars. Silas picked up a small, handheld puzzle from the table. He pushed a yellow plastic square until it locked into place. Veda sat beside him in the artificial garden.